Vaccine mandates are wrong and immoral. Do you know who said that? The Surgeon General of the state of Florida. You want to know why he said that? Because the state of Florida just made the news that they're going to be the first state to eliminate mandated vaccines.
The Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them.
Hey everyone, I'm Paul, your local realtor and guide to South Florida living. Welcome back to the channel that gives you all the information about what you want to know and what you need about living in Florida. From bedrooms to beaches and contracts to condos, I cover it all on this YouTube channel, as I have been for the past 8 years. And with 33,000 subscribers and over 6 million views, a lot of you agree with what I'm telling you. And although today's topic isn't necessarily related to real estate, it certainly could affect your opinion or decision to want to move here or stay here. So if you've been paying attention to the news, you would have seen that Robert Kennedy Jr. recently fired the director for the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. Now, this lady was just nominated by the Senate about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then he just fired her as of this past week. And along with her leaving, a bunch of other people had left. And if you've followed along in politics, you would know that Robert Kennedy Jr. is not a big fan of mandated vaccines. He is not a fan of vaccines at all. So at present, all 50 states require children to get vaccines before they can enter schools. And I'll go over the list of those vaccines in a little bit. But Florida made the headlines once again by announcing this week that they plan to become the first state to eliminate mandatory vaccines for children. Sure isn't the prettiest of South Florida days, but I tried to shoot this video yesterday. I actually did shoot this video yesterday in between thunderstorms, and then went home and I was gonna edit it today after I watched my college football game, Hook 'em Horns, and the memory card broke. That's twice that's happened this year. Those memory cards suck. So I'm out here shooting the video again. Now, this shouldn't be much of a surprise to anyone living in Florida or anyone who knows Ron DeSantis, because back in 2021, he passed a bill that made it illegal for businesses, schools, cruise ships to have people show proof that they were vaccinated. So it doesn't come too much of a surprise that he would be behind eliminating mandatory vaccines.
The governor says there is no wiggle room in Florida's new vaccine passport law, and it says that any company doing business in Florida, particularly cruise lines, they cannot require proof of a vaccination for passengers to get on board.
Now, anti-vaxxers have been making the headlines quite a bit over the past couple of years. There's just a lot of people out there, and definitely in recent years, but it's been going on for a while, who absolutely are against mandatory vaccines for all sorts of reasons, religious reasons, belief that the medicine causes other illnesses, and we'll get into that a little bit later, because we're going to do a pros and cons about eliminating mandatory vaccines. But, and you know, there's a lot of people out there that say the vaccines cause autism. So it's a highly controversial topic, and well, Florida going on record saying they're going to be the first to eliminate it. You can imagine that it's got everyone up in arms. Matter of fact, the governors of Washington, Oregon, and California have said that they're going to band together to make sure that there is things in place for mandatory vaccines for those states, which there already are, because all 50 states do it, but I guess they're just gonna make sure that that can't be stripped away from those states. By the way, this little area I'm walking on over here is called Renaissance Square or Renaissance Commons. It's pretty nice. You've got like a Target right back in here, and there's a Total Wine, and there's a place you can get some beer, and then they got this cool dog park over here for like small dogs, medium size, and larger dogs. And I've brought my pups up here before. It's pretty nice. It's mostly rentals. All these here are rentals, so if you're Hey, someone young and you're looking for a place to rent, you got some pretty reasonable prices here. I brought some clients here about 2 weeks ago. The rates weren't too bad. I think like $2,400 a month for a 2-2. It was a townhouse, and they go all up and down here, and then there's also some private places. And then like back over here, there's a ton of shops, hair salon, that's a Michael's, so just all sorts of places you can go to. And if you didn't know it, I am a local realtor. I'm with True Floridian Realty, a broker associate. We're based in Delray Beach. A couple of y'all have said it's difficult to get a hold of me as a realtor. I don't know why, because my phone number's on every video in the About section, but I know a lot of you guys don't even bother to look in the About section. That's the part under the video that gives a description. It also has my license number and all that good stuff because I am a realtor. But if you want to reach out to me, 2 really easy ways. 1, scan the QR code right here. Scan that QR code, it'll take you to a form, you fill out the form, and I'll reach out to you. Now, if you don't like filling out forms because you're afraid you're gonna get put on a government watch list or something, or you're afraid I'm gonna spam you, which I won't, then you can go and click the link in the comment section down here. That you guys definitely know about. Because I'll be the first comment. Mine will be pinned, and it'll have a link to a 30-minute one-on-one Zoom call, and then we can talk real estate. All right? Doesn't get much simpler than that, folks. So as I said, hot topic in Florida right now. Will they be the first state? We'll see. But let's talk about the vaccines, because maybe some of y'all are maybe younger, you don't have kids yet, maybe you haven't had to put your kids in public school yet. So let's talk about the current list of vaccines that are required, that you have to have, at least here in the state of Florida. I don't know what it is for every state, but this is the list for the state of Florida. Before we start going over the list of what is mandated to enter school, let me give you another quote from the Florida Surgeon General. Quote, "They don't have a right to tell you what to put in your body. They don't have a right to tell your children what to put in their body. They don't have the right. Take it away from them. Don't give it to them. And we're gonna start it first here in the state of Florida." All right, so these are the vaccines that your children have to have from K through 12. Now, guys, I'm not a doctor, and well, some of these words are a little bit difficult to pronounce, but I'll do my best. I'm not gonna call them by their medical term because I'll totally butcher that, but I'll tell you the shots as they are commonly known as, okay? So the first one is diphtheria, tetanus, and I think it's called pertussis. Then you have polio. Then there's measles, mumps, and rubella. Then you have hepatitis B, and you have to have 3 doses of that. There's influenza type B, which I guess is the flu vaccine. There's the pneumococcal. I should make a blooper out of this. There's the pneumococcal conjunctive. There's a PCV, a pneumococcal conjunctive vaccine. I probably butchered that one. And the chickenpox vaccine. But if you have proof that your child ever had chickenpox and you have a letter from a doctor, then I guess you don't have to get another one of those, because I guess once you have it once, you can't get it again. And then once you hit 7th grade, you have to get the Tdap once again, which is the tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. So all required immunizations in the state of Florida must be documented on the DH-60 form, which I guess that's the form they use, and I assume that's what the nurse gives you, or you give the nurse. And then if it's good, I guess your kid can register for school. And also I know this because my son just went into college this year. Most universities and colleges in the United States will require that you show proof of vaccinations. Now, there are a couple ways that your child could be exempt from having to get the mandated vaccines. One is religious reason. And a county health worker has to issue form DH-681, and then you have to present that to the school. And then if you have reasons that you believe could violate your religious beliefs, you may be able to get an exemption. The other is medical reasons. If you have a child who has maybe allergies, such as like the flu vaccine, the influenza, and they used to make it with eggs, well, if you have egg allergies, then you couldn't get that vaccine. But I think they've done away with that, and now there's vaccines that you can get without the egg in it. But those are a couple of reasons. And again, you'd have to have a doctor's letter stating that the child has health reasons why they can't get these shots. All right, well, let's go into some of the reasons for and against. Let's start with the people who are against the vaccines. One of the main concerns is long-term illness or side effects. So a lot of people believe that the vaccines have caused illnesses like autism in kids. They think that the rise of autism is due to vaccines. They also think they have other long-term illnesses from the vaccine. Another one is that people believe that natural immunity is a better way than polluting the body with vaccines. They think if you get a disease that you could fight it naturally, which would build your immune system stronger, right? The natural defense, and that you would get eventually immune to it, possibly. But a lot of doctors say that's not the case. It could actually lead to death, severe illness, by not being vaccinated against certain things. See, here's the dog park. There's some doggies out there playing. They're nice, decent little dog parks. There's a better one down in Delray Beach. That's a really good dog park, but this one's pretty nice. Just gets a little muddy at this one. Another reason that people are against the vaccines is overloading the immune system. They think that getting all these vaccines at once and all that is just ruining the child's ability to build up their immune system. So they believe in delayed vaccines, waiting. But the doctors, again, disagree with that, saying that the children could get seriously ill. There's no worries of me jumping in that. I'm not jumping in that water for $1 million. As I have seen some big lizards with big teeth cruise around here before. And then there's ingredients, the ingredients that go into a vaccine, which none of us really know, right? I mean, we're not scientists, so the general Joe public has no idea what they're putting in their body. But things like aluminum and formaldehyde, those could be in certain vaccines, and people are worried that putting that into your body, which I can't imagine formaldehyde would be good to put in your body, but again, I'm not a doctor. But those things in your body, they're concerned that putting that in is obviously bad, so why would they want to subject their children to that? Of course, there's also the ever popular distrust of the government and pharmaceutical companies, thinking that they're collaborating together to take over our kids' brains, and so there's that whole distrust. I mean, look, there's a lot of reasons not to trust the government in some cases. I'm just saying they've done some things that are questionable, but you know, I don't know that they're trying to take over our children's minds, but they have done a few things in the past. They have been known to do things. They did if you go back and look at the history of the Tuskegee Airmen, they gave all of them syphilis. So that's stated fact, that's factual data. So they have done some questionable things to people, including, I believe, radiation pills to pregnant women to see the effects of radiation. Yeah, that's kind of sick that our own government would do that to our own people. And so again, I'm not stating sides here, folks, but those are factual events that took place, and that should make anybody sick, that the people you trust would do that to their own people. So those are the stories we know about. And then of course there's those that are religious and believe that no, our body is sacred and we don't need to be putting poison into our body, especially vaccines that are made with human cell tissue. So those are their religious beliefs, and this is a country based on freedom of religion and freedom of choice. So how do you argue that one? And then there's also those who believe that the vaccines are no longer needed because everyone's been vaccinated and the diseases no longer exist. So they're thinking that, you know, we had a shot, why do we need to keep giving people shots? Because the vaccine did its job and it eliminated things like smallpox. Lastly, and this happened a lot with COVID, why did I get COVID if I got a vaccine? Why do I get sick if I got a vaccine? And doctors will say, well, you didn't get as sick because of the vaccine, but they don't believe that. Their belief is that, well, I got the vaccine, I shouldn't get sick in the first place. So you're just basically telling us to put stuff in our bodies and it's not working. I still got sick. So those are some of the reasons for the people who are against the vaccines. Now, please stay to the end of the video because I know many of y'all may click off at this point, but let's talk about the reasons for people who are in favor of the vaccines. All right, one of the main reasons people are in favor of mandatory vaccines is that are a highly effective way of herd immunity, keeping nations and states safe from the spread of dangerous diseases. So by having everyone vaccinated and creating herd immunity, it makes it harder for a disease to spread throughout a community. It also protects those who cannot be vaccinated, because the more people who are vaccinated means the less chance that the disease could spread throughout the country, the nation, or whatever. It's a nice little area though for getting out and walking. Lots of people walking here. As I said, you got a sidewalk all the way down the other way, and I parked way down that way. You can see back here. Again, they're all rentals, but it is a nice area. So if you're thinking of renting, give me a call and I can help you look for those too. So another big reason for being pro-mandated vaccines is the eradication of diseases. Smallpox, right? There's no more smallpox because everyone got vaccinated and it couldn't surface anymore. So they believe by having people vaccinated for certain diseases, eventually it could eradicate a lot more of those diseases. Another reason they're in favor of mandated vaccines is because they believe the testing of the vaccines is done the right way. They believe that they do, strong testing of it and making sure that it's safe for everyone to use before they release the vaccines. So there's, the scientific support and the people believe that. That's one reason why they're in favor of them, because they think that they're doing good studies and make sure that they're safe for us before handing them out. And they believe that the small side effects are far safer and not as bad as the disease that could be if they weren't getting vaccinated in the first place. I know this one's gonna get a lot of comments. Societal responsibility. So people believe that it's society's responsibility to be vaccinated to prevent the spread of diseases and to help those who are elder or younger who can't get vaccinated. So they think that it is your responsibility as a human on this planet to be vaccinated so that those that are unable to have a fighting chance. So, they think that it's okay for the government to tell you, yes, you have to be vaccinated because it's good for the overall community. I can't wait to see the comments on this one. I did a video a few weeks ago about HOAs, and I saw your comments on that, about having people tell you what you can and can't do with your house. I can only imagine how some of y'all feel about the government telling you that you have to put something in your body. Just saying, it's good for clicks. You guys love these videos. I like making them for you. So the last one's called the harm principle. And it basically says that certain individual liberties can be restricted in order to protect the general population. So if you're one of those people that says, no, I don't want to, I don't feel I need to have a vaccination, and everyone else thinks that, well, you have to because it's for the betterment of all, then they think that they can restrict your individual rights to that opposing a vaccine. By the way, these are some neat little townhomes over here. Now these are for sale, some are for rent. And I put one of my clients in here years ago. He still lives over here. And I'm not too sure what they're going for right now, but it's a nice little area. And you got garage in the back, and front door right here. They're 3-story townhomes. So I think these are 3. So pretty cool little place. And you're right here in Boynton Beach. And then, like I said, there's a lot of shops and Starbucks and everything really close by. All right, the last 3 reasons why people are in favor of mandatory vaccinations would be, 1, the cost. It's a lot cheaper to have everyone vaccinated than it is to fight a pandemic, right? We saw what happened with COVID. I'm sure that was quite expensive. Not to mention the overrunning of the healthcare system, right? We saw the hospitals, they couldn't handle all the people coming in. So by having people vaccinated, we don't have to worry about the hospitals being overran, the shortage of nurses, people desperate to get in. That was all crazy. And then just normal, everyday society. Having people vaccinated, we can create a normal society. People go to school on a regular basis. Sure, a few people get sick, but we don't have, mass children getting highly infectious diseases and causing a disruption to the everyday school system. And obviously the workforce, because parents would have to leave to take care of their kids. So those are just some of the reasons that people are in favor of vaccines, mandatory vaccines. All right, folks, so there you go. What do you think about all this? Now, I'll tell you, I've heard some debates on this before, and you've got the people that are, how dare you let your child come to class unvaccinated, and you're gonna get my kids sick, and they're gonna get other people sick who might not be able to have a vaccine or whatever. And then on the other side of that, there's the people that are, hey, my body, my choice. Don't tell me what I have to put in my body or my child's body. So and there's going to be an opinion on either side of it. I did a little research before making this video, and I asked Google, are there certain diseases on the rise? And it did come back with measles, meningitis, yellow fever, and whooping cough. And they're all on the rise due to less people being vaccinated. Yellow fever is more so in Africa. So, you know, take that for what it is, but there is a rise of certain diseases due to less and less people, I guess, getting vaccinated. So I'm not sure, I don't know the science. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but that's what it says. So what do you guys think? Well, I know you're gonna leave comments. I hope you do. I appreciate you leaving the comments. I appreciate you watching the videos. And I will get back to showing you some more city tours and stuff, but Florida just keeps coming out. You know, the other week, they wanna ban HOAs, and now they wanna ban mandated vaccines. The state of Florida just keeps giving me content, guys. God bless Florida. I do love living here. So, all right, well, hey, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Well, you're watching this on Sunday, so I hope you have a great week. And wherever you are in the world, get out and enjoy paradise. And I'll see you next week. Take care. There's the pneumococcal